What is up, guys? Wraec here with a new video, and today I'm back to place 1 in my district. And it's not only because I unlocked the second tile in Graveborn finally, it's also because of a new team I want to show you guys. I think it was posted today on the Analytica Discord by Daragon. Very wonderful team and a very wonderful new mechanic. And I want to show you guys this team, which you definitely should use. And then beyond that, I want to fully recommend and you join the Analytica Discord and, well, test some stuff yourself, maybe help out there a little bit, because it's definitely a fun thing to do. So let's check out the team. Team is this one. It is with Cassadee. Very interesting. Cassadee, a hero that I made a video about already, that I showed how strong she can be, that I definitely did some setups with. And just quite recently we made a guide on the arena store, and there I put her in the strong choices. So definitely a hero you want to look out for. This is the team. This is the replay. The way this works is Cassadee is the main damage dealer in this situation, and she has a very strong ability on Mythic Plus, +10, that is called, well, it casts Undercurrent. It's called the Tidal Strength buff that lets your heroes cast Undercurrent. And you can see those magic damage numbers, the purple bluish numbers popping up all the time there. This is from that, and this is really Cassadee scaling her attack through the Graveborn skill and then casting Undercurrent on a ton of heroes. And usually Undercurrent has a 6-second cooldown unless you cast it through this ability, and this really seems to be what happens. A ton of casts of this, and of course we now have enough ults through Resonating Spell and through all of that to really keep up this buff on our heroes and keep it for nearly the entire duration of the fight. You can see, by the way, a little bug there on the top left. Check out the damage, 16.8, and we'll see where my record is in a second. It's only at 16.6, so I don't know what's going on there, but sometimes the game tends to steal you a little bit of damage. Yeah, it's at 16.6, so it's a little bit of a weirdness happening there. Let's take a little bit of a look at the must-haves for this, for this to really work. So, first of all, you want to have a Cassadee. Cassadee Mythic Plus is in theory enough. If you have the +10 on her, you have this skill cast Undercurrent. Enemy was taken 6 hits from Tidal Strength. Undercurrent is this ability dealing 300% damage on max level and usually stunning an enemy. In this situation, the stun is not important, but we want to have the 300% damage, which is a ton, a lot of damage. If you have a Supreme Plus, even better, because we have magic defense reduction from her ult by 20%, which is really nice. So definitely something you want to take a look at. And if you have that, you are already good in terms of heroes. You can see it's not even one of a really fancy heroes. By the way, the charms are good. It's energy restoration. It's not a must-have, but really we want to have as many ults as we can from her. So I would recommend getting them, at least at Epic. Is pretty good. In terms of the Graveborn skills, you definitely need this one. This one will give you the entire buffs. This is all of our buffs. Whenever a hero assists or defeats a non-summoned enemy, so your prime carry assists or defeats a non-summoned enemy, permanently increases their attack by 10%. And this is the important part. We get a ton of assists, and therefore we get a ton of attack boost. So the attack on the Cassadee gets boosted to absolute madness. You saw all the buffs below that. We can take a look at it in a second again. You can enhance that a little bit. On Graveborn, these skills are weird. We have attack buffs here, we have attack buffs here, but the one in the middle is really not an offensive skill, it is just a healing skill. The offensive skill is on the other side, because that will give you more stats, so it's a bit of a weirdness. The way I currently have it set up is a bit like this. I take the death penetration, I take the attack, but I also took this skill, which enhances these stats on my prime carry a little bit. Yeah, there's an argument to be made that you could go over the right side and actually have more damage on the Graveborn one. That is insane. The second talent buff tile I definitely recommend. That is something you should definitely get on this. So this is really all you need. And then in terms of team setup, we already saw the formation, but I can give you some pointers in what you can do there. So we already showed this. I have Lily May in there. If you don't own Lily May, it's perfectly fine if you go for Merrily instead. It's also an option. Then in the team we have Sessia. Sessia can reduce defenses a little bit, so she's interesting for this. Thorin will enhance the damage an enemy takes in a similar way Rainier does, so also pretty interesting hero for this. And then we have Carolina, who also reduces magic defense and therefore is also very interesting for this. You can really replace any of those Graveborn heroes for any other Graveborn hero. They are all useful. Those, I think, are the 3 best that you can choose. But if you don't have Carolina, for example, well, you can replace her for somebody else. Just make sure you have 3 Graveborns, so you set up the Graveborn skills and have Cassadee. Without Cassadee, this won't work. And you will have to look for another team. There are other teams, of course, that you can use. We already showed the Lightbearer teams, which do work, but in my opinion, we're now at the point where the Graveborns showed enough that they are a lot better than our Lightbearer teams. I think I saw some high Lightbearer team hits as well, but getting this and being that consistent, really, with the high damage numbers is worth quite a lot, because you will get more loot from this. You will get more loot just going with a Graveborn team, I think, over the very much less consistent Lightbearer teams, I have to say. So definitely something that you want to keep in mind. And then I want to show you guys something else, because now, well, we came from the point where we just had a little bit of AoE damage. Went over to using heroes that are proven to deal good damage. We're using Lily May, using something like Corrin, using Merrily. And now we are basically beyond this point and delving more into the ways, okay, how can I get a ton of assists and boost some weirder abilities that also deal a ton of damage? For example, the Cassadee Undercurrent is now boosted, which is very, very cool to see. And another way, or another thing, I think Daragon wanted to test it, and he asked me to test it, was this Mika team. And it didn't quite work out, but still want to show you guys the idea in general. The idea was that Mika has this Mythic Plus, and while the heroes are in a Courage Sphere, they can get Combat Fury and deal damage to adjacent enemies. And the idea was to basically gain a ton of attack buffs through that on Mika and let her deal damage to the enemy. It didn't work out. We can see it in a second, but I just want to show you guys this because I think it's cool and maybe inspiring you guys to test some teams yourself, or to maybe go to the Analytica Discord and suggest some stuff. Because the idea was that you put like the enemies in this Courage Sphere, they hit the enemies, she gains the assist through that, gains a ton of attacks. You can see it fail right there, by the way. You can see the amount of buffs on Mika. Till just a second ago it wasn't really a whole lot, and if you scroll back a little bit you could see that Cassadee already has so many that you can't even see the board anymore. It's just one dark green bar of buffs there, which is insane. Even at this point you can see that the amount of buffs on Cassadee is more than on Mika. So that is really, it didn't work out as intended. Also Mika moves to weird positions, which is really not that great. You can check this out. Check this positioning. It's just like buffing nobody at the moment. So yeah, this really failed a little bit, but there were other attempts with Satrana, for example. She runs the heroes around her Spark that you might have already seen in AFK stages, destroying your team. So there are multiple interesting teams, and I think this will be improved upon as well. I don't think this team is the final form, but it's already very, very good, and it's good enough that I want to show it to you guys because it brought me back to place 1. It might do the same for you, and then it's definitely worth using. But I also want to see what they come up with. Personally, I have to say, I don't think it's worth it for me to post 3 guides a day on any teams, because there are so many teams posted in this Discord, because everybody says, okay, we found this new idea, so now let's test different heroes, and then they are put into the team, and many of those deal decent damage. We saw the Mika attempt right now. It was decent damage, it wasn't too bad. It was way worse than the one we had before though. So oftentimes those teams get tested and then later thrown out when they notice they underperform in comparison to another team. So I don't really want to make 3 guides a day. I want to show you guys some teams that are really great, that you can use, that I think are good and that use good mechanics. And I think with those teams you will end up being superior over testing a lot of teams. So I hope this helps you. Maybe it will bring you to place 1 as well. If you are on my server or in my district, then don't go to place 1, then stay on place 30 or something. Stay away from place 1, that's mine now. Thank you. But other than that, if you haven't already, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, would make me really happy. And with that, I wish you a great day, and we'll see us in the next one. By the way, on 900 there is another Stellar Crystal pack. Might be the last one we see this season. I'm eager to see that.